Jorge, I don't know. I may look too springtime fresh for almost the end of January. I'm just saying. Hey dolls, it's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, with the Fingerdoo review of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 15, Episode 4. Are we calling this an episode? Seriously, I feel like I dozed off and missed most of it, yet I didn't. This is what we get from MTV. They clearly got right up World of Wonder's butt financially to entice the move so they could increase the diversity of their programming and pave the way for one of the worst TV shows ever. The Real Friends of WeHo, Liza Minnelli. The use of the word real where TV is concerned just insults me. Let's just start with that. The use of the word friends where Taldrick Hall is concerned shocks me. The use of the neighborhood WeHo when no one involved lives there is just sadder than sad. I don't want to talk about it. I've already given this show more time than it deserves. I'm so serious. What I would like to give time to are this week's Tipperdoos, like my Tipperdoo boyfriend Vito, I love you Vito, and Elizabeth Ellis, who sent her Tipperdoo through my link tree on Instagram. You're a doll, Elizabeth. And those who used the YouTube thanks button that is just below this window. Thanks to the very generous David, and a huge thanks to Bianna Lisa for my first Tipperdoo in rupees. Quel international. Thanks to you both, seriously. I also have two queens to welcome to the Fingerdoo family on Patreon. Michael Wood and the returning Tiffany Carmen. We missed you, Tiffany. I hope to see both of you at our next live chat. Did I mention we have 2 live chats a month on Patreon? Well, we do. And finally, I'd like to send a big old thank you to my YouTube girlfriend, Chloe Demure, who sent me this gorgeous little chapox. It was made by E. Dupree Accessories. They're on Instagram, and I'm going to put a link to them down below. But seriously, look how gorgeous, look how gorgeous, oh God! Now, Jorge, drink me! Oh, look at this. This is so cute and springtime fresh and loaded with tequila. Which I'm okay with. Thank you, Jorge. Seriously. Okay, I already feel like my review is longer than this week's episode of Drag Race. I haven't even started the review yet, so let's get to it. As is their wont, the queens said goodbye to Princess Poppy, while Titties was just relieved that someone other than herself went home. No offense, but if I were her, I'd be relieved too. Amethyst was obviously up in her feels about being in the bottom again, especially with it being an acting comedy challenge. Her close brush with the sachet had her questioning what she'd always thought to be her strengths, her sense of humor, and her comedic timing. Maybe that's the problem. She's thinking too hard, something I've never had a problem with, I'm just saying. The twins were asked what it was like working separately because, clearly, Sugar seemed to have a hard time with it. And by hard time of it, I mean Jax. Seriously. She didn't even apologize once. I'm just going to say. I do have to say I was proud of Sugar saying she was done apologizing for herself, and so she should be. Let her own it. This baby queen doesn't have a bad bone in her body. Her young, tight, bendy body. Of course, the queens congratulated Sasha on her first win, but there seemed to be some debate as to who was second place. Lux thought it was her because of her runway, while Lucy thought she was the runner-up because the judges liked her dolly. The point was neither of them won. The next day in the workroom, Spice read Amethyst with a baseball metaphor about 3 strikes and she'd be out, and then immediately blamed Mistress for making her say it. Of course that red had Mistress written all over it. It was clever and involved sports. Before the queens could get into it, Ru arrived with this week's Maxi Challenge. No mini, no how you doing. She just got to it. To make some extra time for some crappy TV show no one asked for, clearly. And what was this week's Maxi Challenge, you ask? Snatch Game. Are you kidding? While everyone was gagging, Ru explained that this season they would be doing Snatch Game in 2 rounds, 2 groups of 7 celebrity impersonations. That's right, draw it out even more. Clearly this worried a lot of the queens, but none more than Aura. Hey, I was just impressed that she admitted she had shortcomings for a change. Ru split the cast into two teams right there and then. Group 1 had Mistress, Anitra, Robin, Marsha Cubed, Malaysia, Titties, and Lux. Group 2 had Sugar, Jax, Amethyst, Lucy, Spice, Sasha, and Aura. I like that Sasha pointed out that no matter where Snatch Game landed in the season, it was still a known fact that it was a comin'. And she was prepared with a Jan Crouch impersonation, apparently. Lux was talking a big game about how her Amanda Lepore was going to be better than Trinity's. And Lucy went on about how known she is for her Joan Rivers impersonation. There was more talk about who was doing what, but to be honest, I didn't care. I'd rather see these queens perform than talk about it. Just me? Well, I needn't have worried about it because in record time, 8 minutes into the episode to be precise, it was off to Snatch Game. This happened so fast, Ru didn't even have time to change his Met Gala suit. My favorite part of the Snatch Game was having the pit crew as contestants. Not because they were actually talking for a change, because, who cares if they talk, but because production had cut out the front and sides of their tables so we could see as much of them as possible. Hey, give the people what they want. Bruno and Kalik were up first with Marsha Cubed as Tim Gunn, which was a pleasant surprise, not just because her impersonation of Tim was brilliant and funny, but she had on so much makeup, it took me a minute to figure out who it was. I truly wasn't expecting Marsha Cube to do so well. Just me. Anitra took a big risk by going the kimchi route and playing a celebrity's fictional sister, Gordina Ramsay, Gordon Ramsay's quieter, less sweary sister. I wish Anitra had worked on her accent more and maybe remembered that the Ramsays are from Britain, not Nevada. Still, she didn't suck as badly as others, but I was disappointed that she didn't go bigger with it. Where was the potty mouth? Mistress doing Rosie O'Donnell may not have been the best impersonation of the night, but she was hilarious. Not only did she have a smart answer for everything, but she had no trouble improvising with Ru and the rest of the panel. Kudos to Mistress. It's not easy being as funny as the comedian you're impersonating. And she was funnier. And yes, that's a dig at Rosie O'Donnell. Robin Fierce decided to do Karen Huger, whom I'm assuming is a real housewife of some such thing. Celebrity impersonation? The best thing I can say about Robin was that, she wasn't the worst. Which brings us to Astides Virgin Mary, unfortunately. When she was describing her choice in the workroom, I was actually looking forward to her Virgin Mary, but after watching it, I needed a drink. Oh, I have one. Thank you, Jorge. Lux's Amanda Lepore didn't suck, but was it better than Trinity the Tux? No. Malaysia's Saucy Santana didn't suck either, but with Tim Gunn and Rosie O'Donnell hogging the spotlight, she really didn't get that much camera time. Well, no one did, because all of a sudden, it was on to round 2 of the Snatch Game. For those of you keeping score, that first round lasted 7.5 minutes. That's about 65 seconds per queen. Seriously. Bryce and Asif were the crotches on display this time around, and working it out on Contestants Row was Lucy LaDuca as Joan Rivers, and I just have to say, I was so impressed. Not only was Lucy funny as Joan Rivers, which again is not easy to do with a comedian celebrity, but she had some original lines, and her back and forth with Ru was hilarious. Seriously. Sasha was serving us her Jan Crouch, who I have to be honest with, I have never seen this person before. In fact, if it wasn't for Queens doing her on Snatch Game, I still wouldn't know who she was. But Sasha brought the funny no matter who she was doing, and, well, that's the point, isn't it? Jax did the Mona Lisa, but I couldn't tell if she was being funny or not because, she was hiding behind that painting. Seriously, Horacio did that better. I'm just going to say it. Sugar's name card said she was trying to do Trisha Paytas, so I'll just have to take her word for it. But truth be told, she was trying my nerves, which is too bad because I actually know who Trisha Paytas is. I'm not proud. Amethyst did Tan Mom, and again, I have to admit, I have seen more impersonations of Tan Mom than, Tan Mom herself. So I have no idea what she's like, but I will say this, Amethyst's impression was the funniest of them all, which really isn't saying much. Spice was doing the many faces of Miley Cyrus. First, she did Miley from Deliverance, I mean Hannah Montana, and then she did Miley on tour. And by on tour, I mean drugs, allegedly. Why else would she waste all that valuable camera time hitting herself in the head with a sledgehammer when she could have just let me do it? Aura had good reason to be worried because she was doing another nobody as far as I was concerned. No offense to Bretman Rock, but let me say this. I shouldn't have to know who they are for them to make me laugh. Sadly, Aura didn't. I blame her singing. For those of you keeping score, round 2 only took just over 6 minutes, but it felt like way more, right? As the queens got ready for the runway, Lucy LaDuca talked about the fact that she is still living in her hometown, despite how badly she was picked on for being gay. Hell, even the teachers picked on her. I don't know if that's smart or stupid when so many gays get the hell out of Dodge the minute they can, but Lucy took a situation, which was bad, and turned it around with humor. Instead of them laughing at her, she got them to laugh with her. I would have thought it would have just been easier to move. Then, here's your hat, what's your hurry? It was time for the runway. That just left us 13 minutes to get through 14 Queens runway, judges' critiques, and a lip sync for your life. Girl. Ru looked like she had a touch of the bird flu in her black and white feathers. Michelle was looking editorial in her graphic eye. And by the way, her graphic eye was the name of my French play. Carson was back in a silver blazer, and joining them at the judges' table this week was actress Amandla Stenberg. Category is Beautiful Nightmare. Marcia Cube's evil dentist had the most makeup on that she's ever worn on that runway to date. It's just too bad she paired it with that outfit. Finger don't for Marcia. Lux was giving us Drowned Ring Girl, and it was stunning. How can I not give her a Fingerdoo? Seriously. Malaysia was giving us Dead Showgirl realness, and it was beautiful enough for a Fingerdoo too. Gorgeous. Mistress wasn't looking as nightmarish as I would have liked, but she did look gorgeous in that, what are we calling that, a chandelier? Who cares? Fingerdoo! Anitra was serving us a Black Widow latex fantasy that got a Fingerdoo from me. And I don't mean that in a sexy way. Okay, maybe a little. I don't know what Selena Estides was giving. Zombie something, I'm guessing, which is why she got a finger don't from me. Again, Robin was channeling her inner tarantula. I felt this look was too safe, but I still gave it a Fingerdoo. Lucy was giving us a gay Jason from Friday the 13th that was so gorgeous, I screamed Fingerdoo right into her masked face. Seriously. The originality of Sasha Colby's Witch's Broom fantasy made it my fave of the evening. It was beyond stunning and totally got a Fingerdoo for all that beauty, which scared the crap out of me. Jax was serving a snake something. I'm going to guess Medusa because she entered the runway Perseus first. I'm sorry, that has to be the smartest thing she said to date. Good for Jax. I will say this, I felt like that prosthetic piece was wearing her and not the other way around, so I had to give this look a Fingerdoo. I'm sorry. There it is. Smart or not. Sugar gave us zombie doll realness in pink. Spice gave us the same thing in black and white. I give them both a Fingerdoo. Just the one, mind you. They can share it. Amethyst gave us a stunningly accurate interpretation of Lady Gaga's 2009 performance at the VMAs. Seriously, she transported me back in time with that runway. How can I not give her a Fingerdoo? I'm just going to say it. I wish Aura had given us as good a performance in Snatch Game as she did on that runway with her gorily bejeweled filleted back. Fingerdoo for Aura Maiori. Seriously. She should have worn that dress for Snatch Game. Then Ru announced that Lux Noir London, Malaysia Baby Doll Fox, Anitra, Robin Fierce, Selena Estides, Sasha Colby, Jax, and Amethyst were safe. So they frigged right off. Amethyst was thrilled. That left Marcia Cube to be judged first. Everyone loved her Tim Gunn, and Michelle liked her makeup, but Ru hated that outfit. Mistress's Rosie was a hit, but as far as Michelle was concerned, her makeup on that runway was the star. Speaking of stars, Ru was impressed with her performance too. Got her eye on her. Lucy was a huge hit with her Joan Rivers, and it was unanimous her runway was gorgeous. Sugar's Trisha Paytas was a huge letdown to everyone, and her runway wasn't reinventing anyone's wheels, bless her heart. Spice's Miley fell short of the mark as well. Aura's runway was a huge hit with the judges, which was good because, well, her Bretman Rock was not. Back in the Untucked Lounge, the Safe Queens were breathing a well-deserved sigh of relief. Not just Amethyst. Malaysia was starting to feel the pressure, though, and got a little emotional that she wasn't catching the judges' eyes enough to be better than Safe. As for the queens still on the runway, the writing was on the wall. The Safe Queens were all sure that Sugar and Spice were going to be lip-syncing for their lives. So did the twins when, well, the rest of the queens entered the workroom. Clearly, Mistress and Lucy were in the top, but Marcia Cube thought that, well, she was Lucy's runner-up. Well, that set Mistress off, who read Marcia for blocking out her brow only to draw it back onto the exact same place, and then she called her runway looks cheap. In her defense, Mistress apologized right away for calling Marcia cheap, but she wasn't changing her opinion. Sugar and Spice were worried about being in the bottom and told the room that if one of them went, they both would go. And then the veil was lifted. The emotional twins hinted at a life at home lived in shame and fear of being themselves around their own family. No one in their family knows about their TikTok fame or that they were even on season 15 of Drag Race. Spice had to step out, she got so emotional. The whole situation broke my heart. These tweens couldn't be sweeter. I'm so serious. Sasha Colby recognized a lot of her experience in the twins and didn't hesitate to love on Sugar and show her some support. It was an eye-opening experience for everyone, and no one wanted to see them go, no matter who had to sashay away. It was one of the most beautiful moments I've ever seen on Drag Race. I'm so serious. Can I have a tissue? Oh, thank you. Oh, God. Thankfully, Amanda dropped by to say hi. She showed off some homemade couture covered in past Drag Race winners on it. Lux ruined the moment by making it all about herself by asking if she could be on the back. The rest of the queens were not impressed. I know I wasn't. Back on the main stage, this week's winner was Lucy LaDuca. That's 2 wins for Miss Lucy. Suck on that, you haters. That left Sugar, Spice, and Aura in the bottom. So, to up the drama of it all, Ru announced that it was Sugar and Spice who had to lip-sync it out. They had to lip-sync to Pat Benatar's You Better Run. They started out strong and separately, but then they seemed to have this whole routine choreographed. Personally, I found it a little frantic, especially with Sugar tripping and falling all over the place. I don't know how Ru did it. Maybe she flipped a coin. But she picked Spice to Shantae, and it was Sugar who sashayed away. And that was it. Quick, everyone, get ready to watch The Real Friends of WeHo, said no one ever. What did you think about this week's episode? Did you feel like you were getting the bum's rush? And I don't mean that in the sexy way, because the sexy way would have lasted longer. I'm not denying that Sugar and Spice did a bad job, but did they both deserve to be in the bottom? Was Jack's saving grace that she didn't do anything to grab some much-needed camera time during the Snatch game? I mean, it's not like her runway was better than the twins, just saying. What about you? Do you agree with the outcome of this episode, or did you blink and miss it? How do you think Spice will do without her sister? Will she have separation anxiety? Could this affect her performance in future challenges? Yes, I said challenges, plural. Or will she even last that long without her twin? All we can do is tune in to RuPaul's Drag Race next week to see how it all plays out. And when you're done, you come on back and you see me so you and I can compare notes. Now, please don't forget to give this review a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and check out my links in the description box if you'd like to help support the Fingerdoo review. Until next time, miss me! Mwah! Seriously, Lord. I can't get over how short these episodes are. I mean, all I can hope is that The Real Friends of WeHo is the biggest fail in the fastest time possible. I mean, how are they even selling this with Todrick Hall on it? No one likes him. Whose friend is he? And what about that actor from the Eating Out series? He's got a fans-only page. Apparently some of the other cast have issues with them. It certainly doesn't sound friendly. I don't know. And there's no lesbians. Don't lesbians live in WeHo? Maybe that's why no one there is real. They're not being monitored. I'm just saying, on one level, I'm enjoying that they're just getting to it with each episode. But at the same time, I feel like we're missing a lot of opportunity for the queens to get camera time and, I don't know, argue cases or redeem themselves on some level. I don't know. It's just, so far the move to MTV has not been impressive. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually am missing VH1. I'm missing it a little.